trusted administrators, beloved teachers, proud parents and families, honored guests, and most especially, my fellow graduates, good day. Today, we are gathered here for something we have been waiting for. For years, we imagined what this day would look like. We imagined wearing our graduation attire. We imagined hearing our names being called. We imagined taking pictures with our friends, our teachers, and our families. We imagined finally holding the proof that all those years of studying, sacrificing, and persevering were worth it. And now, we are here. We made it. But standing here today, I realize something. Graduation is not really about the piece of paper we are about to receive. It is about the person we had to become before we could receive it. Because the truth is, getting here was not always easy. There were days when we were confident, but there were also days when we questioned ourselves. There were days when we felt capable of doing anything. And there were days when even getting out of bed and facing another requirement felt like a challenge. There were days when we looked at our grades and felt proud. And there were days when we looked at ourselves and wondered, am I good enough? Perhaps some of you have asked that question too. I know I have. College has a way of introducing us to a version of ourselves that we did not even know existed. It showed us that being hardworking does not mean we will never get tired. Being intelligent does not mean we will never make mistakes. Being confident does not mean we will never doubt ourselves. And being strong does not mean we will never feel weak. Sometimes strength simply means continuing even when we are tired. Sometimes courage means showing up even when we are afraid. And sometimes success means refusing to give up on ourselves when you are the only person who still believes you can make it. My fellow graduates, I think that is one of the greatest things college has taught us. We learn how to continue. We learn how to continue after receiving a grade we did not expect. We learn how to continue after making mistakes in front of our classmates. We learn how to continue after presentations that did not go according to plan. We learn how to continue when deadlines seem to arrive all at once. We learn how to continue when we compared ourselves to people who seem to be doing better than us. And most importantly, we learned how to continue when we were not sure of ourselves. That is something no textbook can fully teach. And perhaps that is why the journey matters as much as the destination. When I look back at our college years, I don't only remember the major examinations and academic requirements. I remember the small things, the conversations before class, the laughter that suddenly made the stressful day lighter, the moments when we help each other understand a lesson, the nervousness before reporting, the silence while trying to finish an assignment, the excitement when the requirement was finally submitted, the simple, kaya nato ni, good luck, nakapasar ka, okay ra ka. They may seem like ordinary words, but sometimes ordinary words are exactly what we need when life becomes difficult. We may not realize that now, but one day, these ordinary moments will become memories we will wish we could experience one more time. Because college was never only about academics, it was about people. It was about the people who walked beside us, the people who believed in us, the people who challenged us, and even the people who made us question ourselves. Because whether they knew it or not, every person we encountered became part of our growth. Some people taught us through encouragement, others taught us through challenges, some reminded us of our strengths, others showed us the areas where we still needed to grow. And perhaps that is one of the beautiful things about life. Not everyone who enters our story is meant to stay until the end, but everyone can leave a lesson. To our teachers, thank you. As education students, we have spent years learning about teaching. We learned about lesson planning, classroom management, communication, assessment, strategies, theories, and countless concepts that sometimes made us wonder if we would ever remember all of them. But beyond all those lessons, you taught us something deeper. You showed us what it means to be an educator. Because teaching is not simply standing in front of a classroom and delivering information. Teaching is patience. Teaching is understanding. Teaching is knowing when to speak and when to listen. Teaching is believing in a student who may not yet believe in themselves. And someday, when we finally stand in front of our own classrooms, I hope we remember how it felt to be students. I hope we remember the nervous student who was afraid to answer, the student who needed someone to explain a lesson one more time, the student who looked confident but was actually struggling inside, the student who was quiet, the student who was afraid of making a mistake. And I hope we become teachers who make those students feel that they belong. Because perhaps the greatest teacher is not the one whose students remember every lesson. It is the teacher whose students remember how they felt inside their classrooms. To our parents and families, there are no words that can completely express our gratitude. Before we learned how to write our names, many of you were already writing sacrifices into our lives. You worked, you provided, you worried, you prayed. You encouraged us and waited for us. And there were probably moments when you wondered whether all your sacrifices would be worth it. Today, I hope you know that they were. Every time you supported us, you were not simply helping us finish a degree, you were helping us build a future. And to the families who made sacrifices that nobody else saw, this achievement is yours too. When our names are called today, remember that behind those names are people who help us get there. So, to our families, thank you for believing in us, even during the moments when we struggle to believe in ourselves. And to my fellow graduates, I want to say something that I hope we carry with us long after today. Do not let comparison steal the joy of your own journey. In college, it is easy to look around. Someone get a higher grade, someone speaks more confidently, someone seems to understand everything quickly. Someone already knows exactly what they want to do after graduation. And suddenly, we began asking ourselves, why am I not like them? But we forget something important. we were never given the same journey. We have different stories, different struggles, different strengths, different weaknesses, different starting points, and different destinations. So perhaps we should stop asking, why am I behind? And start asking, what is my next step? Because life is not a race where everyone has to arrive at the same time. Some flowers bloom early, others take longer. But being late does not mean being forgotten. Sometimes growth happens quietly. Sometimes the most important changes in our lives happen when nobody is watching. And sometimes the person we become after struggling is far more valuable than the person we would have become if everything had been easy. There were moments during our journey when we may have felt like we were not enough, not smart enough, not confident enough, not accomplished enough, not successful enough. But look at us now. We are here. And perhaps that is the answer. What did not have to become perfect? We did not have to become perfect to reach this day. We only had to keep becoming more responsible, becoming more patient, becoming more courageous, becoming more understanding, becoming more independent, becoming someone we had never been before. And that is what graduation truly represents. Not perfection, growth. As someone who has chosen the path of education, I have realized that becoming a teacher is not only about teaching others, it is also about constantly teaching ourselves. We teach ourselves to be patient, we teach ourselves to listen, we teach ourselves to communicate, we teach ourselves to stand again after failure. And we teach ourselves that our identity is bigger than one mistake, one grade, one rejection, or one person's opinion of us. Because there will always be people who will misunderstand us. There will always be people who will underestimate us. There will always be moments when we feel unseen. But we must never allow someone else's perception to become the definition of who we are. Know your values, know your purpose, know the kind of person you want to become, and keep working toward the person quietly, consistently, and sincerely. You do not have to prove yourself to everyone. Sometimes the best response to doubt is simply to keep growing. To my fellow graduates, this is not the end. This is not even the final chapter. This is the first page of a new one. So go out there, dream, try, fail, learn, begin again. And never be ashamed of starting over. Because your life does not have to look like anyone else's. You have your own story to write. And I hope that story will be filled not only with achievements, but with purpose. Not only with success, but with meaning. Not only with dreams, but with courage to pursue them. Today, we celebrate what we have accomplished. And perhaps the most beautiful part is that we do not know exactly where this journey will take us. But maybe we don't have to. Maybe all we need is enough courage to take the next step. So before I end, I want each of us to look back, not at the person standing beside us, not at someone who seems ahead of us, but at ourselves. Look at the person you were when you first started. Look at everything the person had to go through. And then look at who you are today. You survived things you once thought you couldn't. You learned things you once thought you couldn't understand. You accomplished things you once thought were far away. And now you are here, a graduate, a dreamer, a work in progress, a person with an entire future ahead. So, my fellow graduates, let us not be afraid of what comes next. We have already come this far, and if the journey has taught us anything, it is this: we are capable of becoming more than the person we once thought we could be. Congratulations to all of us, to our families, thank you, to our teachers, thank you, to everyone who became part of our story, thank you. And to the younger versions of ourselves who dreamed of this day, we made it. The chapter we worked so hard to finish has finally come to an end. Now, with grateful hearts, courageous minds, and hope for what lies ahead, let us turn the page and let us begin again. Thank you, congratulations, and may God bless each and every one of us.